Good afternoon and welcome to episode 12 of 3 Feet from Gold, The Power of Association. My name is Jeremy Murphy. I'm a positivity, health, and running coach in Lincoln, Nebraska. And we're excited to be with you. And I am joined by my wonderful co-host, Ha Tran.
Hi there, my name is Ta Tran. I'm a motivational speaker, a published author, and a navigational coach. And welcome. So, Jeremy, do you want to do a little bit of housekeeping before we start out with chapter 15?
Yes, we do have an agreement with the Napoleon Hill Foundation. We sought their approval to present this show and to use this blab title, present the series. They did agree to that, but they asked us to give you some information about the foundation, how to reach them. And so I will go ahead and read that now. And there is a blab feature that used to allow us to pop the question into the seat, and that doesn't appear to be restored, but it is allowing me to post the question before the blab so I can still see it. 3 Feet from Gold is used with the consent of the Napoleon Hill Foundation. However, the foundation has no control over and does not endorse the blab.im platform or content. To learn more about the Napoleon Hill Foundation, go to naphill.org. Make sure you use 2 L's. When that was sent to me, it only had 1 L in it, and it took me a while to realize that. So every time I put that back in, I have to make that technical correction. If you go naphill with 1 L, you're going to get a broken website. So just to clarify.
Okay, that's great. That's a good thing you mentioned it. Well, we have Chuck here too. Okay, yeah, Jeremy, today we're talking about chapter 15, association. And let me read the quote on the top of the page. It said, success requires no explanations. Failure permits no alibis. That's Napoleon Hill. Your take on that, please.
Success should speak for itself, ideally.
Yes.
We have to, a lot of us love to trumpet our wonderful achievements, but it's better to let the success speak for itself. And the failure part of it gets into we can't make excuses. If we make excuses, we're doomed to fail over and over and over. And that vicious cycle, it's hard to break out of it because once you start making an excuse, then you start making a list of excuses and you just rotate them. And it becomes a convenient way to avoid taking the steps that you need to take in order to be successful.
Yeah, I love that quote, and that what you said is very, very true. Yeah, when you success is speak for itself, and as well as failure. Regardless, if you find some way to defend or make the case for yourself, it's not relevant. In my own opinion.
Yes.
So the power of association, that is one of the factor in the success formula. We're talking about the letter P for passion. That's something that you love, and the T for the talent. That's something you are good at it. And when you have something you are good at, when you do something you love and you are good at it, and the next step is you have to find the good association to collaborate with.
Right. And that's the first A. Did we figure that out?
That's the first A.
The first A is association. The second A is attitude. And I'm sorry we didn't put all the mathematical variable decoding here. Maybe we'll put that on the back later.
The letter A there, we can have that's at the attitude or as actions, because it really it's flexible on that, because if you have the P, the T, and you have the A, and you don't have the good, you don't put into good work, you don't act on it, I don't think that nothing good will come out of sit idly,
Yes, and it's interesting. You get to this part of the equation, and here you're getting into exponential growth, not just addition. You're getting into exponential growth. You're talking about where a lot of the power occurs as far as launching success in all of our lives and helping launch the success of others. And that success resonates. One person becomes successful and then they teach other people their secrets of success, and then everyone wants to know your secrets of success.
Yeah. So we talk about association. the power of associations. So when you read the chapter, what does jump out of the page for you?
For me, the amazing part of this chapter is that you have a moment where a first-time author has sort of hit the wall. Greg is trying to find what he needs to get this book published, and it's lacking something. It's maybe too edgy and not as tied to someone that might be an experienced author that might know what they're doing a little better. Mm-hmm. And so to me, the interesting thing about this chapter is the moment that Greg has that collaboration with Sharon Lecter and realizes this is a powerful connection, someone who's published and co-published books with people, someone that has national recognition on issues like financial literacy with children, which is a huge issue for those of us that have kids and grandchildren, and for anyone really, but those of us that have children and grandchildren, that's a big concern.
Yeah.
But the moment when they meet and she starts looking through this manuscript and realizing what needs to be done and explaining to Greg, look, you've done great with meeting with all these successful men. Mm-hmm. But you haven't included the genius of women, of the feminine genius is sort of missing. And if, she decided, maybe some of the manuscript.
I need to close the window. Do I me crazy?
Go ahead. But it's amazing. Sometimes we try to operate in silos alone, individually. We think we can operate in a silo and be successful, and tunnel vision doesn't take us very far. And so the interesting thing to me about this chapter is once Greg meets Sharon, this book changes. There is a softening for the rest of the book. I think that's noticeable. And I think you can really sense and absorb Sharon's impact on this book. It becomes a much deeper, more amazing book at this point. So it's a critical turning point, transitional chapter. If you haven't bought or read this book yet, you absolutely need to move it to the top of your list. Go get it.
When you mentioned about Sharon Lecter, that is, she is the author of this book. And then, Sharon do not come into the picture by accident, but by association.
True.
And because the connection, Craig have a set of the people that he work with, his mentor, his counselor, and then Sharon also worked with a group, and then they happen to recognize those two talents, so they married their two talents together, and that's why this book come out the way it is. And like you mentioned, I am still, people will find me and hunt me down and jump on me. But I keep on saying that the Think and Grow Rich is just like writing for the big boy club, And then when Sharon come in and she said, you might want to interview the other woman who the achiever, and because you were softening the perspective, because a woman perspective that make this book become more relatable.
Right.
Yeah, it's more relatable.
Empathy and compassion from this point forward are just much more noticeable than they are in the earlier chapters, in my opinion. Do you agree? What do you think?
Yes. Oh, I agree totally. And then, from Sharon come in, with her knowledge, with her gentle approach. And then she suggested that, okay, maybe this book, what lacking of, perhaps that is the feminine perspective.
Right. And once that is provided, it's amazing how if we have the opportunity to be creative catalysts for each other, and that catalyst force starts operating on one person and it goes back and forth and you get explosive creative ideas happening. And I think you kind of see that with this point in the book. You just see the powerful impact that your inner circle has on your success. If you have the wrong people that are sabotaging your success, doubting you, making you fear, getting you to make excuses or stick to their excuses. It has an anchoring effect and a negative perspective. We're stuck, we're sinking. And so it's amazing to me to see the creative catalyst effect between the two is very powerful. And I think it's true for all of us.
Yeah, I have to circle back and to give Craig the credit because he has grown up.
True.
I mean, he have to gone through the growing pain, but he get to the point that he is because through of the struggle, internal struggle, in his own mind, I mean,
right.
Because he is pretty much have his mind, the way he think, everything all set. But then now, I think that because of the respect he has for his mentor, that make him kind of like, okay, if that what he said or what they said, and then he will just reconsider it, he rethinking it, and come
right.
to the point that when he talked to Charlie Tremendous Jones, and Charlie said, hey, I work on the project with I think that the Ken Blanchett he working with, and he said that we still need some help because the project we might good at something, we might gifted at something, but in putting together we need all the skill set and sometimes that we might not have. So that's why he thinking that he should have someone to help him to write this book, and he suggested to talk to Don Green, and Don Green already have that in mind. So the
yes.
first conversation, get into maybe the first 30 seconds, Don said, okay, call Sharon.
Right. I call Sharon, see what she says. And, Sharon was very willing to help. And I think she really emphasized with Greg, you don't want to quit. You really have something good here. And I think Don Green had already talked to Sharon before this, right?
I know.
He was already ready. So he had already set this up sort of, and was just waiting for the right opportune time to suggest it. And so she was ready, willing, and able to help. And things just took off from there.
And sometimes the power of saying the right thing at the right time also very important.
Yes.
Don might be see that, but he didn't say it until, not a moment too soon. When he called, he said, hey, what am I missing? What is, what's wrong with this picture? And so Charlie gave him some counsel, and then Don have suggested that, and that's pretty much a done deal.
That word, yes. And there's that word counsel again. And that's a perpetual word that keeps popping up in these chapters. And it's interesting with what you just said that we all have these little blind spots, and we can't see what we don't know. We can't know what we don't know. But if other people tap us on the shoulder and say, hey, this is what you're missing, these 2 or 3 things, if you tweak these little things this much, I think it's going to work. And frequently they're right.
Yeah.
And you have that capacity to do that for others too.
Yes. And my mentor, Les Brown, he often said that if you are in the picture frame, you cannot see the picture.
Yeah.
And that's how true that is, because you're so close to it. And even if you see it, but you see the way that the way you see it, then it won't help you much. But you have to distance yourself, and you have to look back into the picture with different perspective. Therefore, you can have a different solution or different game plan for the thing you're already working on. But boy, if you see it, just for writing, for instance, if you write something and you read it, sometimes you not read actual word on it. You read what you think you write on the paper.
Right. Yes, and shift your perspective. I mean, that those are 3 of the most powerful words in the English language. If we can do that at critical times, that allows we always have to change and grow. And if we fail to continue to do that, we're not moving forward. So that's very helpful to be able to take a pause, step back, take the 30,000 foot view and see where we are. And if we can't see and we're lacking clarity and there are clouds in the way, then we ask the other people in parachutes or planes around us, what does this picture look like to you? What do you see?
Yeah, I came from Vietnam, and sometimes that people fetch the water from the river, and the river is just very cloudy. It looks like dirty, but to the farmer in my country thinking that a lot of nutrition into that water, so they really using that for the water their plant and stuff like that. But that's not what I'm going to say, because with that cloudy water, if you set it long enough, it will come clarity. It will clear. You know that if you have, I don't know, that's not an experiment. That is the truth. If you have a bucket of cloudy waters, it's unclear. But if you really do the swirl like this and you make it very fast and you just set it there, if you set long enough, the above the all the dirt or whatever, that it will be sent down, and then the top will be the clear water. And just like our mind, when we are in the chaos, when everything is so cloudy, but if we give ourselves some time, to sit back and for it to take time, the clarity will come.
That's very true, and that chaos it affects all of us, and we have to be patient. And I think, like you said, Ha, the cooperation with others and just the ability to realize that these things sometimes take time to make shifts and be able to see things in a different way, in ways that are clear instead of confusing and cloudy and chaotic.
Yeah, so that way I'm again, like I said, I circle back there and to give Craig the credit, because he have grown up a lot.
Yes.
At the beginning of the book.
Agreed.
Now, when his mentor or his counsel give him some idea, he chew on it. He think about that. He marinate it. He process it. He just not to in a rush and hurry just say, nope, I will do it my way.
I love that. He marinates it, and you can marinate things overnight. So sometimes we expect answers the same day, and we have this expression, well, we'll sleep on it.
Yes.
And if we do marinate things like that, we wake up in the morning and we say, wait a minute, now I see the right answer or the solution to the problem, and it comes when we least expect it. But you're so right. The marination process of allowing things to settle and things tend to clear up. Chaos does not remain chaos forever.
No, I mean, if we give its time, it will clear itself, and then we can look at it in a different perspective. And and we're not even just talking about the delectable dish what we're going to have, because after the marinating, and then with the crock pot, the slow cooker, it have the way of tenders, bring into the meat and the flavor that we So
yes.
yeah, and I think that Craig had grown up, and that is such the right time, the right moment, and just like it's just the fruit is ripe, it's just ready to pick, and I couldn't be more happier. And then so just because of that, he went on to and then, something about Craig too. I noticed he came to looking for the thing. Before that, he just so self-observed, and he just about thinking about himself. If the suit looked great, his hair. Sometimes you remember the scene that he was in the elevator, and he looked at himself, admiring him, in the new on the new jacket, everything. Yeah, but now he didn't think he didn't look at things that way anymore. He looked around him to see if somebody's successful. He approaching them. I mean, he have the maxi. He come into approaching them, and he just said, what business you are in? And if they said they do something, he said, wow, how you overcome that, and what make you interested in that? That is curiosity. That is, it not just come to him overnight. It is the whole period of the time. And he in the valleys quite a few times in order for him to wake up to elevate his vision and to see things that to give birth to this book.
Yes, there's a depth at this point that's obvious, that he's looking deep inside himself instead of just the exterior of what he sees in the mirror in that elevator, what the jacket that he got that was conveniently left for him.
Yeah.
But he's moved on from that, and now he's connecting to people heart to heart, soul to soul, seeing where their greatness is and figuring out what nuggets of wisdom, experience, or knowledge can I take with me, apply in my own life, and help teach others. And that's the beauty of this point in the book. I think Greg realizes that he has a gift for teaching and helping others, and Sharon helps awaken that in him, I think. But it's a beautiful moment to see them sharing this and having this book be so successful in helping people.
Yeah, and then the conversation he had with Debbie Field, the Mrs. Field cookies. And
now you're making me hungry.
Yeah, because I am the person that I truly believe in set our own high standard.
Yes.
And then the highest standard is some aim that I need to reach, and because that I bring the best, it brings the best out of me, because I want to reach the level of expectation I set for myself. But Debbie said, you set the high expectation, it's the high standard, and even you flaws, it still fall into the category of excellence. Tell me what your thought on that.
That's an amazing perspective. And the thing about cooking is, if you're making cookies and you burn some, you don't really throw all the burned cookies away. I mean, people do still sample those and say, well, it's not premium level, but it tastes pretty good. It's going to satisfy our hunger, at least temporarily, while we wait for the good cookies. But that's true, that the people that make cookies perpetually, frequently, that turn it not just into a science, but it becomes an art. And they're trying to find the right perfect blend of ingredients and testing the taste, having other people taste them, saying, no, this batch isn't any good, and I've got to make these again. Something's wrong. And I have a friend like this. He's an attorney, and he makes cookies.
Yeah.
And he gives them to everyone. He gives them to his friends, people at the courthouse, just, all kinds of cookies. And but it's amazing. Even somebody like that you would expect would have no gift for cooking, he has an incredible gift for it. And he's very perfectionistic about it. And I think Mrs. Fields has that type of, maybe not perfection, but she definitely has excellence as the target. And I think if we do focus on excellence, we avoid the perfectionism trap that some of us have trouble removing ourselves from, including me. But if we strive for excellence, we're going to hit it a lot of the time if we work hard at it and really take it seriously.
Yeah, and the thing that you look at into your different perspective. It is so I'm intrigued to hear you talk about that. And to me, that when she talking about her cookies, and that she stand by her cookies, and she have the love of baking, but more than that, though, she talking about the good, the superb, the quality of the ingredients
right.
she's using into do it. Just like us, if we have our association, have the people that we associate with, and if they are the cream of the crop, or they are the ideally of a superb combination that who walk into it, the quality people in our life, it's make it so much easier, don't you think?
So true. And I think it's so easy sometimes it's so easy to notice who those people are, because they're the people that get us all fired up about what we're doing. They're the people that we get off the phone with them, we just say, oh my gosh, what just happened? And we start writing down ideas, and they're all from that conversation. And, and sometimes at first it's hard to tell who the right associations are. Do you agree? Sometimes people pretend to be someone else, and we all tend to wear masks sometimes and pretend we're someone else. But if we're authentically us at a deep level, and we're looking for people that are the same, that are authentically themselves, and that are trying to powerfully help others, that just unleashes the greatness in everyone. It brings out the best in everyone, instead of making it a competitive situation or an argumentative situation. There are all kinds of things that can destroy these associative relationships. But that creative catalyst effect, if that's there and there's creativity going back and forth and that accelerates like a particle accelerator, then we really have powerful things going on. You have ideas being launched that become brain children of people that are just by them talking about something.
Yeah, you do know when you're talking about patience and give some time for it to come to realize your dream or whatever that is, and that a part of when you're getting to know people, sometimes I think that people they pretty much show up and they tell us who they are, but we try to convince ourselves that no, he is or she is not.
Yeah.
When people tell them who they are, we should believe them because and then because if something go wrong, we are the only one to be blamed for.
Yes, I think we do have to trust people at a basic level, or how can we even have a relationship with them? Now, there might be people that it might not be safe to do that with, but if that mutual trust isn't there, it's not a solid associative relationship, and we should just part ways. So some people aren't meant to collaborate or cooperate with each other in meaningful, powerful ways, and others are.
I'm telling you, if I don't have trust, you have nothing, because trust is one of the most thing that very, very important to me and to any relationship. Without trust, I get nothing.
Yes, it's central. And that question of, do you trust me or not? And seeing how people respond, that's just a fascinating question.
Yeah, and then if you give enough time, that you can knock off the veneer they have on their, and they will come to them. So if give enough time, you will know exactly who they are.
Right.
So, but anyway, when I'm really intrigued by this chapter and the conversation with Debbie Field, and I think that I did a couple of things that I want to share with you. I think that one is on page 149.
Yes.
Yeah, and that one, and I remember that because he said, we set our standards so high that even the flaws were considered excellent.
Even the chocolate chip cookies without chocolate chips. or maybe more commonly, probably the burn cookies. I mean, you do have, if you don't take those cookies out in time, bad things happen.
But but remember, because you give to people, don't think that people eat anything you give it to them, even the burnt cookies.
I know that. Anyone with children knows that.
Yeah, so that way. And then here, there's another one. I also love this on page 149. I think that you bring it to my attention. Okay, never let other people stand in your way. Turn adversity into advantage. Turn that doubt into your catalyst.
Yes, this is, I've had a lot of people, anytime you make a big transition in your life, you have people that doubt that. Like in my life, when I transitioned away from being an attorney, I mean, I still have that license, that law license, but there were all kinds of people saying, no, you've got to get back in the courtroom. You've got to get back in the game. And there was a huge part of me thinking that was the right thing too. And I realized that that's not where my heart is. That's not where my soul is. That's not where my gifts are anymore. Maybe they were before, and so I realized, all these people that are doubting me, I should just go do what I feel called to do and sort of use that as fuel for the fire. And there's a quote that I shared with you last night, that I saw it on Twitter yesterday, and I don't know who the author was, but it was a quote about, make sure that the fire within is burning hotter and brighter than the fire underfoot. And I think there's a lot of truth to that. If we can keep our desire to succeed and sell and to set high standards at a very high level, that fire will burn and will propel us forward way beyond where we'd be able to otherwise. And if the fire on our feet is burning us more than the fire inside, then we've got to fix some things on the inside before we can really be successful. Do you agree?
Yeah, I agree, because we talk about the internal and external. External, it's the burn. You might have some charcoal feet, but the fire in you, that the one that propels you to achieve greater things. So no, I agree with that. And I think that our time is about up, and I really want to have Chuck perspective on that. But I want to remind you, today my father passing about 6 years ago, and I remember my father always said to me that the bend in the road is not the end of the road, and you just have to have the courage to make a turn.
Oh, great fatherly wisdom. I just, if we could, I wish we could capture all those and get them written down, because I'm sure a lot have escaped me, and I'm so glad that you're able to bring meaningful quotes and memories to us that can help everyone. And there are transitional points that are very difficult like that. It's hard to let go of people, especially people that we love. So
yeah, and for me, that is different, because I don't say that because your father lived nearby, and so he's well and alive. But when for me, that at one of the period, 10 or 15 years, I have not hear my father, heard my father, have not seen him, and I'm so longing for him to counsel me. And
yes.
at the moment that I don't have him nearby, for me to talk with, so I have to dig deep, and therefore I just try to remember what he said. Just like in the old day, I think in the 70s, you have the movie say what MacGyver going to do in any situation, and I keep on asking myself, what my father going to do in the situation that I'm in.
That's a great insight, and I think it's meaningful to ask, what would your loved ones do in that situation? What would they tell you? And I think what they would say, and I feel the same way about all my grandparents are gone, and I miss all of them dearly. And 3 of them I knew better than the one that died the first. But there are times where I wonder that myself, about what they would think or say in a situation. And that helps me navigate life a lot better. Otherwise, I just feel like I don't know what I'm doing.
See, that's what I'm longing for, my father to counsel me. And
Sure.
that's why the only thing that I can find that I will have to dig deep in my heart, and to just to remember the conversation we have, the story that he tell me and stuff like that. And
Sure.
that's why people just say amazing that how I remember what my father said. But because I was so longing for that, I keep on thinking about, okay, what my father going to do in the situation like that. And and he never let me down. I always follow my father, and he never give me in the wrong directions. But anyway, our time is up, and I want to check him in. Would you like to talking about what coming next? And
Yes.
we're talking about maybe 2 or 3 episodes. It will be over.
Yes, I think it would be 3 more episodes if we take 2 chapters per week. And next week, we're going to be talking about chapter 16, which is the courage to change, and chapter 17, don't quit. And this would be episode 13 coming up. So, and we'll talk about whether we want to do a summary episode or just cover it, maybe do a longer show in the last one, so we can maybe have a little bit of summary at the end, because I think that'd be meaningful to our viewers and listeners that might want to listen to this later, and you just don't know at what episode they discovered the series. They may discover it with the last one and not necessarily with the first one.
Yeah. Okay. So what is coming up next? When we close up, then we can stop recording, and we can have Chuck come in.
Yes.
Yep.
I want to thank all of you for joining us. We'll be back next week. I think it'll be June 1st, if I have my dates correct. Same place, same time. But we're hoping to wrap up the series sometime in June, so we can maybe look at what we have and see how we can help people in more powerful ways. All right.
And thank you. Yeah, and thank you very much. As I always say that, money, when you spend it, you can make it again. Something broke, you can replace it. But the time you spend with us, that time is gone. You can never get it back. Therefore, I always think that time is one of the most precious thing that anybody can give it to us. Therefore, we appreciate you and we honor your presence. Thank you.
Powerful words. Thank you. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.